moving into the Warriors. And I actually think the Warriors haven't been thanked enough this year. Last year, they got all the plaudits, all the credit. And this year, it seems to have died away. And I think it needs to be echoed. The rugby league world is indebted to the Warriors franchise. A lot of coaches, a lot of staff, a lot of trainers, a lot of players living away from home, not seeing their families for months on end, all for the competition to keep running as a 16-team competition. Huge shout out to the Warriors. They 100% sacrificed some on-field success for that to happen. That was a reason why I predicted them to come 13th. They came 12th, tied 13th, as I just mentioned with the Tigers. I thought staying in Australia for a second year straight was going to be pretty taxing on them, and I think it ended up being pretty taxing on them. So, just a huge shout out to the Warriors. As I mentioned, I don't think it's been talked enough. But what they've done for the game has been pretty awesome. So well done to the Warriors. Now, look, I don't know. Warriors are a hard team to judge because they sort of always seem like they're in games. All their matches are close. And then you look at the ladder and you go, oh shit, they've lost their last six, which I'm pretty sure happened in about July. But then they came home strong, won 4 of their last 5, I think. So, and looked like 1 point to be a dark horse for the top 8. So, all in all, I think it was a decent season for the Warriors. I'm going to give it a flat 5 out of 10. I think some of their signings were maybe a little bit underwhelming. I think the likes of Fanua Blake and maybe like a Bailey Sirenen or something did not, they didn't like change the team as I was expecting. I thought they were going to really elevate them, but overall, it's pretty much exactly where I expected them. So I'm giving them a flat 5 out of 10 for the awards. Look, I don't know if everyone thinks this, but I think Reece Walsh is a absolute freak. Like, I know everyone thinks he's a good player, but I honestly think this kid is like next level. Like, I would borderline argue with you right now that he's better than Kalen Ponga right now, which is a interesting, like, I think it's a unique take. I don't think many would agree with me, but if you take his performances over the last week and compare it to Ponga, for me, it's hard to argue that that's not true. I think he single-handedly provides creativity to this team that really lacks it, and I think he adds a star quality to their team that they've lacked. I hope he doesn't go back to the Broncos. Not from a jealous point of view, but I think the Broncos should learn to live with this mistake. The Tigers often do, and they often get canned for it a lot, so I think the Broncos should have to. And I think a club like the Warriors, who took a punt on a young kid, I know he had a huge rap, so it wasn't necessarily a punt, but I think I would love to see Reece Walsh reward them with, a 4 or 5 year stint in New Zealand. I know it's a big thing for a young man to go live in New Zealand, and playing in Southeast Queensland for the Warriors, in quotation marks, is a bit different to actually living in Auckland and playing for them. But I really hope he stays. I think he's the kind of star they need to be a dominant force in the game. So I've given him most valuable and also best young player, and most improved I've given to Josh Curran. Saw him a couple times last year, didn't really know what he was, thought he was just a decent player, but he showed himself to be an absolute freak of a back rower. When they went through their struggles, he was out for a lot of it, and that I don't think is a coincidence. Saw someone include him in a predicted Australian team bench this week, and that just says it all. He's arguably the MVP, but for me, he didn't play enough games, even though I think Reece Walsh only played one more than him. But 5 out of 10 for me for the Warriors.
It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.